sure.
Don't even think about the little things.
Well, and the bad part is not too many people are overly anxious to get out there in 100 and plus degree weather to mow. So it's like insult on top of injury. You're out dying in that weather, and you had to pay for it.
Are you ready, Joe?
Yes, sir.
The meeting of the Board of Ellis County Commissioners will now come to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Bobby, if you could call the roll.
Commissioner Joe LaRue,
Here.
Commissioner Neil Younger,
Here.
Chair Butch Schleier.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Order of business, we have no executive sessions this evening. Prior minutes, Commissioners, did you review prior minutes?
Everything looks good to me.
Okay, minutes stand as submitted. The consent agenda, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the consent agenda, A through G.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Any issues from persons not on the order of business? Okay, it looks quiet out there. Monthly financial reports, Commissioners, any concerns?
Everything looks good.
Okay. Tonight we're going to be hearing the budget request from our, what we call outside agencies. What we're going to do this evening is, if you're requesting for a single agency, we will allow you 5 minutes to present your budget. That will give the board time to make comments or ask questions. And you'll hear a little ding when 5 minutes are up, so it's time to wind down. If you're going to be presenting more than for one agency, of course, we'll allow extra time for that. So with that, I guess we will start hearing from agencies. And the first agency up tonight is going to be the High Plains Mental Health Center. Walt.
Good evening, Commissioners. Walt Hill, I'm the Executive Director of High Plains Mental Health Center. High Plains is a 20-county community mental health center, soon to be a certified community behavioral health clinic under the federal and state auspices, with $7 million additional federal funding and Medicaid funding to help support that. We are asking for funding from Ellis County for 23 of $280,000. That's the amount of funding you have provided for us this year. It's slightly above our fair share funding formula. However, we do appreciate that you fund slightly higher because some other counties don't. And it, I can tell you, is great to go out to other counties and say, Ellis County's carrying their weight plus, because not all counties do. The funding from Ellis County provides subsidy for $5.2 million in services last year, or Ellis County receives an 18-fold return on your investment of county funds to allow us to provide services regardless of ability to pay. We saw 2,288 Ellis County citizens last year. We are growing our outreach offices within the county. We saw 120 Ellis County citizens at the health department and at the family medicine clinic last year. We're now just adding another office in Ellis at the Ellis Clinic, where we will send a therapist to see patients so that they have improved access. We're growing new programs with these federal funds, jail liaison, assertive community outreach, something called assisted outpatient treatment to help the courts deal with folks who can't make their own decisions about treatment needs. We provide quite a few services in county facilities. We saw 63 individuals at the jail and in many other sites in the community. We appreciate your support. It's very helpful as kind of the base support. We've not asked counties in total for any increase in funding for the past 10 plus years because of the circumstances that counties find themselves. We need to make our own way. We just use that as base funding to help support the sliding fee for patients that have incomes generally under $25,000 or less for family income. I'll stop at that point, see if you have any questions or issues that I could address for you.
Well, I know you guys do a really good job, Walt, and you know, we've always been a good supporter of High Plains mental health, and we hope to continue that.
Thank you.
So, Commissioner Joe, you have any comments?
No, I just want to thank your agency for all that you do in our community. We really appreciate it, and to echo his statement, you know, we want to be able to support
Sure.
you this year as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Neal?
Just keep up the good work. You got a good staff. Also, thank you for throughout the year coming and updating
Yep.
all the commissioners on.
Anytime. You know, we're in mental health. We're used to talking. We love to talk. So I did want to mention one initiative that we're involved in, and that's concern about the agriculture community and mental health stress and the issues that those in the ag sector are experiencing. Maybe a producer, maybe a veterinarian, maybe a seed salesman. And we are sponsoring July 28th, a agriculture stress listening tour for some folks from Washington, D.C. to come out and hear what it is like out here, outside of the confines of the Beltway, even go visit a cattle operation and see what they get on their shoes out there as opposed to in D.C. And that's the afternoon of Thursday, July 28th. And I really can't go into detail of who's coming from D.C., but some folks in the Health and Human Services division of the federal government have initiated this, knew we did this several years ago, and you'll be getting invitations. And we're really concerned about the ag sector and folks dealing with the stress there.
Yep, that is great because the input cost and is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
everything, the uncertainty, the fires, that we hope to have a couple of, at least one victim of the fire come and talk about what that means long-term for their ability to produce crops on that land and various other pieces.
Okay. Well, Walt, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next agency is Grow Hayes. Doug?
Good afternoon. I'm Doug Williams, Executive Director of Grow Hayes. I'd also like to introduce, somewhere in the back is David Klingen and James Robin, who are also employed by Grow Hayes. First of all, I just want to thank you for your support from last year. Your increased support, along with the city's increased investment, allowed us on January 1st to hire David Klingen, and since that time, we were able to obtain a $2.63 million base grant from the state of Kansas for the construction of a micro factory that will go up at the corner of 9th and Commerce Parkway. And in addition, in the time David's been here, we've never had more retail prospects and other prospects for things going on than we do right now. So it's been money well invested. And James Robbins started the 1st of June, and he's going to be focused on some special projects, including the construction of the micro factory. So your investment has allowed us to do that, and I think is paying some significant dividends and will continue to. I provided you with an annual report and our 2022-2023 operations plan. I'm not going to go into all that. That'll take far longer than 5 minutes. Needless to say, we are very much involved in housing activity. The development east of the Technical College, which was completed, the streets were completed last September for 36 lots, and effective the end of this week, there'll be none left. All 36 will be sold, and there will be houses going up this summer on all 36 of them, either completed or mostly completed by year end. So it's making a difference in the housing market in our community. Lots of other things we're working on. You'll recall last year we approached you about the concept of levying a half mil for economic development. This is how some other communities do that. We did not have a lot of positive reception, and I understand that last year. This year we have increased our ask to $180,000 from $150,000 that you gave last year. That is significantly less than what a half a mil would generate, but we're still feel that that is a significant investment and will allow us to do what we need to do. That being said, I would be happy to answer any questions or discuss anything in the materials that I provided.
And the question I have for you, Doug, is with 20% increase you're asking for, how will you spend that money? What are you going to be using it for?
Partly in what we've already invested in another employee. We have operated at really an understaffed situation for about 3 years, and with the addition of David the first of the year, that solves some of the problems we've had, and with the addition of James, it solves the rest of them. So we've got the extra capacity now to manage some of these projects we're involved with and to do even more. So that's primarily where it would go, to additional headcount.
Okay. Commissioner Neal?
Again, just keep up the good work. You got another good staff member coming on, so I guess let's keep it going. And
The key is always to hire people smarter than me, and that's really not that hard to do, but I have in this case, for sure.
thank you.
Commissioner Joe?
You.
No, just excited to see some of the things right around the corner. We're on the cusp of some really interesting development, and of course, I hope that some of this extends out into outside the city limits of Hayes. Just kind of scanning through here, though, you see some things that are, and so that's exciting because it's a partnership. So just thank you and David for all that you've done this past year, and I look forward to meeting the new person.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Take care, Doug.
Thank you.
Okay, the next agency is the Center for Life Experience.
Fellow commissioners, I will excuse myself from this. Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Dawn Liker, and I'm the chair of the Executive Board of the Center for Life Experience. I want to thank you so much for the support you've given us for the last few years. Thanks to that support, we were able to provide the care for people who are struggling with loss and grief. Our groups include the Healing After Loss group, the Healing After the Loss of Suicide, Healing Hearts, and Healing Kids Hearts annual retreat. Each of our groups focuses on a specific area of grief, and they're all peer-oriented and were facilitated by our executive director. Now, this year we've requested $5,000. It's up slightly from what we've requested in past years. But our executive director of 22 years, Ann Liker, has retired as of May, and we're looking to bring on a new facilitator and executive director towards the end of the summer. We're going to have some overlap time for training and to introduce this new individual to the public. So that's the reason for the request increase. It's estimated that our services touch over 1,000 lives every year, and we're finding an increased need for our services as people have come through the pandemic and are struggling with the loss of many loved ones and just all kinds of losses that they're feeling. Let's see, we provide all of our services free of charge, and we also do train up the next generation of leaders by bringing nurses, nursing students, social work students, and sociology students into our groups to train. So anyway, if you have questions, I'd love to answer them.
No, I do believe you provide very valuable service to the community, and we're just happy to be able to support you.
Okay.
Commissioner Joe?
No questions, just a comment along the lines of thank you for what you do in our community. 1,000 lives, and the lives that those 1,000 people also touches, that ripple effect is very profound, so thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Okay,
Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, next we have the Council on Aging.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name's Jolene Nurnberger, and I'm here on behalf of the Ellis County Council on Aging. I'm here to ask your support, favorable consideration of the recommendations made by the council for the 6 agencies that we have received applications from. The Northwest Kansas Area Agency on Aging, the Ellis Nutrition Site, the Victoria Meal Site, and the Hayes Senior Center, and the foster grandparent and senior companion programs. Our request is for the funding of those agencies that provide valuable service to the aging population, our community. And in fact, many of the folks that are a part of the agencies also provide some of the services. The kinds of services that they provide are, for example, Medicare enrollment, support for Medicare enrollment, and homemaking services, nutrition services, of course, through the meal sites, attendant care, companionship. We have youth mentoring from the foster grandparent program, transportation assistance. There's financial support in the form of stipend, a non-taxable stipend to low-income and limited income seniors. The request that we have is in the amount of $120,972 for these 6 agencies and organizations. I'd just like to mention Orrin Winholtz has been the chair of the council. We also have Mary Sauer from Hayes, who serves on the council, Ilona Patterson from Victoria, and I'm from Ellis. I'd also like to thank Darren for his help with our council in the recommendations that we're providing for you. So with that, I'd be happy to try and answer any questions that any of you might have from us.
I understand, Jolene, that Northwest Kansas Area Agency on Aging is taking $15,000 from the Hayes Senior Center?
Center budget, yes.
Yeah, and why was that done?
That is because they've taken on the responsibility to hire or to employ 3 people that will be working in the nutrition program and also at the Hayes Senior Center.
Okay.
So that has been transferred from the senior center to the area agency.
And that had little effect on the Hayes Senior Center, is that correct?
Guess not.
Okay.
I can't be absolute, but no, I'm not thinking I think it's actually been a benefit, great benefit.
I know because of the pandemic with your Senior Companions program and Foster Grandparents program, are you getting a lot of volunteers and getting people into the homes again with
Well-
that pandemic kind of on the downside now?
I think it's been, we're getting, I am no longer the director of the Foster Grandparent and Senior Companion Program, but I know these folks are getting back into the homes of the many who are homebound and frail. The services that the program provides, of course, includes companionship, transportation assistance to these folks, and I think the program is getting back on. And that's why last year there was no request for funding, and so that's why there's an increase in the request this year.
Okay. Commissioner Neal?
Just going through it all yesterday and then again now, it's great what you guys are doing, and I'm good with having that around, so.
Thank you.
Commissioner Joe?
Again, and we're going to say this a lot tonight because every agency here is so important to our community, but thank you for all that you do for the population that you serve within Ellis County. I was curious, so, the ask is twice what it was the previous year, under the 15 to 30. I know you're also talking about other agencies under your umbrella, so that total ask is a little over 120. But is all of the extra 15,000 extra compared to last year, is all that for matching fund purposes, or is there other things being done with it?
Well, I do know that the funding is utilized for match from the federal government through the Area Agency on Aging, but I think that is going to be for the labor, for the higher enrollment, or the employment, I should say, of the people. I think that's going to go to the salaries and the other benefits.
Okay, thank you.
That's my thinking.
Okay.
Okay.
Jolene,
No
thank
other
you.
questions? Well, thank you,
Thank you.
gentlemen. Appreciate your time tonight, and I thank you all for your service, and hope you have a good evening.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
take
you.
care. Okay, the next agency budget request will be the Humane Society.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We also would like to thank you for your support of our organization. We tried to give you as much information as we could in the information that we sent you pre-meeting. We thought we'd do a little something different this year. I have some pictures of before and afters of some of the animals that came in from the county. The money that we're asking from you is $2,600, which is the same as last year. This money goes to pay for stray animals that are found in the county, generally by farmers, people driving county roads, that are brought in from Ellis County only. All other counties do pay their own incoming. All other municipalities do pay. Ellis County residents are the only ones that you guys take care of. We've had a crazy busy year. COVID kind of dumped on us too, but we're getting back to where we wanted to be, and we're staying extremely busy. I'll open this for questions if anybody has any.
I know when I go to the grocery store, the groceries are higher now. Are you experiencing that with?
Oh,
supplies
absolutely.
need for your cats and
Vet
dogs?
bills, everything's going up. Dog food, cat food. Vaccinations are higher. I mean, it's everything that we use, electric,
I know.
everything.
I was buying a nice bag of doggy treats for my two dogs. Was $10, and now they're up to $12. And so
Absolutely.
we don't get those treats no more.
Absolutely. I mean, you do the best you can for everything that you can. We are a no-kill shelter, so we don't euthanize animals anymore, so that's a wonderful thing. And
So you keep an animal until they are adopted out?
Yes.
Okay, what's the
And
longest you've had to keep an
If
animal?
if we do euthanize, it's mainly for aggression, some sort of illness that we can't fix. Generally, that would be a cancer, something like that. Our general dogs stay with us somewhere between, I would say, probably 4 months would be the longest. We've adopted them within days. Depends on how much they need when they come in. Animals from the county sometimes need, they've been left out alone, they're very skinny, they need a lot of nutrition, and then we do give them all their shots and worming, all of that stuff too, before they are adopted. And we do try to do as much spay-neutering as we can. A lot of times people will donate money for that specific thing, so we hold that money in a fund to try to get, especially cats. because this is cat season and we are loaded, cats and kittens. So if anyone's needing one, we got all shapes, sizes, colors, everything, so.
Okay. Well, I know my 2 dogs are happy that they were rescued by me, so.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Joe, do you have any questions?
Oh, no, I don't. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Neal?
Yes, Betty, thank you for your services and what you do. If my wife was up here, there wouldn't be a checkbook big
Well,
enough.
tell her,
Animals.
tell her about the cats. I know she's a cat
Oh,
lady.
you said it, but
I
anyhow,
know she's a Siamese cat lady, so,
we've rescued a couple of them from you.
yeah,
and
yeah.
I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next agency request would be from Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to come and present today. I am Jenny Bates with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I've been the director with Big Brothers Big Sisters since 2016, but we have been with the agency since 2003. And we come today as a new agency for you to hopefully partner with in Ellis County in our community. Big Brothers Big Sisters is a mentoring organization, and we are pairing children in Ellis County with children facing certain different adversities going on. In the documents I gave you, you can see that we're serving children from lower income families, single family homes. They are struggling academically in school, dealing with issues at home of drug and alcohol abuse. They're witnessing and experiencing domestic violence. 30% of our kids have or have had a parent incarcerated. So children in our community are dealing with a lot of things that we wish they didn't have to deal with. But what we get to do at Big Brothers Big Sisters is find people in our community who will partner and match with them and meet with them on a consistent basis to help them through what they're going through and hopefully show them a different path for their future. We want them to see their potential, and then those bigs are there to help them achieve those goals that are set for them. Our program is completely free to all of our families who are involved, and we do a very thorough screening of all of our volunteers that come through the program. Home visits, background checks, references, interviews. We get to know them very well. It takes about a month for a person to get through the program to become a volunteer. And then once they're matched, it's not just, I hope you have a good time together. We are providing professionally case-managed support to all of our matches. We currently have 150 matches right now in Ellis County. That's 150 kids being served and matched with that many, at least that many volunteers, because they are with either a big brother, a big sister, or we can match with couples and families. So when you count in those couples or families that are involved together with one child, there's even more people involved, and that's how amazing this community is, and stepping up and volunteering and spending time and engaging and connecting and building relationships with these children to help them through what they're going through. Our office consists of 5 staff members. We have 4 case managers, or we also call them match support specialists. But they each have a caseload and are in the first month of a match having monthly contact, or the first year of a match having monthly contact with the parent, the child, and the volunteer, making sure it's safe for the volunteer, what they're doing, that they're having consistent contact, and that the reason the child's been referred to the program, that hopefully those needs are being met and goals are being worked on for that child. It's pretty amazing. We've been in Ellis County since 2000 for 22 years, and in that time we've served over 1,800 children. About each year we serve about 200 children each year. and the progress we see in these kids and the impacts we're seeing, their confidence, first of all, is improved tremendously. It just helps them feel better. They feel special in that one-on-one time, helps build their confidence, which then in turn helps them in school, helps them have better relationships with others that they're around, helping them stay out of trouble. I mean, we are a preventative program, and we want to avoid them being in trouble later on. They feel like they belong, especially since the pandemic. A lot of kids, those kids who are already isolated and feeling lonely, that just kind of piled on even more for them. So this is helping engaging them. We always have a waiting list. Unfortunately, it's just always going to be a thing. We have great partnerships in the community with DCF, St. Francis, the schools, USD 49, and the Ellis, Victoria. We work with all communities in Ellis County, finding the kids who need our services. They're referring them to us, and we do what we can. We currently have 38 children total waiting, but about 8 more kids right now going through the process to be enrolled. So that waiting list is always there. Thankfully, we're always working to find new volunteers. But since 2019, we have seen growth in our program. We have served more kids by 30 and have been sustaining it. So we hope we will need additional funding and additional staff as we continue to grow, and that's why we hope to have a new partnership with you all, with the Ellis County.
Just a question. Now, this is a new
Sure.
request for
Yes.
Ellis County.
Right.
And just what made you choose this year?
Well, like I said, as we have seen the growth, the increase of need, and that there's more kids coming to us, we thankfully have the volunteers. We have added on an additional staff person to be able to provide the support of those matches. Like I said, we've made a match, last week, and our longest match has been together for 15 years. So, thankfully, they're staying. Our average match length is 3 years, and as those are staying together, which we want, those long, impactful matches for those kids, that means that we have more open, active matches, and so we have an additional staff person and additional funding that will be needed.
Well, I'm sure it's a very valuable service.
Thank you.
Commissioner Joe, do you have any questions?
No questions, just the comment that mentorship's important, no matter what age you're at, but
Right.
I think more so very important for the younger folks, so thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Commissioner Neal?
As I was going through your packet earlier,
Yeah,
I don't see a frown on any of them's face.
right.
So
Yes, it's a very positive
it is.
thing for our kids and our communities in the future.
So thanks for what you do. That
Thank
is
you.
Very important.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, our next agency is the Heartland Community Foundation.
Hello, good evening. I'm Sarah Meitner. I'm the director of the Heartland Community Foundation. I just wanted to thank you for your $5,000 contribution last year to the Ellis County Legacy Fund, and I want to again ask or invite you to continue that partnership with another contribution for 2023. In the past, the Dane G. Hansen Foundation has extended us the opportunity to raise match dollars during the month of February. That helps us continue to build our Ellis County Legacy Fund, which is the primary fund that we make grants out of within the community. In the past, they've been doing a dollar-for-dollar match, but beginning in 2023, they are increasing that to a 2-for-1 match. So for every $50,000, if we can raise $50,000 in Ellis County, they will give us $100,000 to put into that fund. That is so important because, like I said, that is primarily where we make grants out of. We just last week wrapped up our spring grant cycle and granted $43,370 here in Ellis County. Last year total, we granted $107,898 in Ellis County. So that money is growing, and we're able to grant more the more that it grows, through continued investment, through time, and through sound, sensible investment. Hopefully in this market, we can continue to watch it grow, and we can grant more. We don't touch the principal of that. We only grant from the investment income, which is why it continues to grow. We support nonprofit agencies. Many of them are here talking today, but also to municipal entities such as the county and cities. So City of Hayes, City of Victoria, City of Ellis, all have been grantees in the past. Last year in 2021, and this was just an extension of what Heartland was continuing to do in the community, we began the disaster relief funds in response to the December 15th storm. So with that, it increases awareness, continues to build visibility here in the community, but also serves as meeting a need that was previously unmet. We were able to raise over $200,000 to our combined disaster relief funds, and we granted out over $60,000 to impacted individuals and families. So it went right to the people. We found partnering agencies to make sure that could happen. But that leaves a nice little money left in the pot that's continuing to grow for the next emergency, should one happen. I anticipate at some point it likely will. So we're trying to do good things. We also are providing the endowed support, or the endowed fund support, of more than 25 local organizations, again, many of whom are here today, so that they are continuing to invest in themselves through some sustainable, sound investment. So we're here for the long haul, and would like to again extend an opportunity to partner in the coming year. Do you have any questions?
It's a very good program. And as we contribute to it, why, that money goes right back into the community.
It
So
does.
It
That's the
benefits
amazing
everyone.
thing. And I love telling the grantee stories. I wish that, I could tell everybody all of them all the time. And that's the thing, is people probably, all of you here, everybody in the audience, has probably been the benefactor of one of those grantee programs, and you may not even realize it, because the schools, the city, the community, we've granted to many of them. I did include a list in or some of them, it's not at full extensive, but in the packet that you guys received.
Commissioner Neal?
Again, you're a go-getter. I like your style. It's great what you do for our community. The only thing is, I'm going to ask if you would come visit us in the near future, because I see on here you did not come revisit us, and just kind of update us on everything. I think
Sure.
our whole community would love that, to hear from you again.
So to come to Munger,
Another
or to come
immediate
visit you three?
throughout
Okay.
the year.
I would certainly love to do that and tell you more about what we have going on.
Perfect.
Or if you have ideas. I mean, that's the neat thing, is kind of hearing the role that community foundations can play in a community can look like a number of different things, but helping to connect the dots for ideas, or find funding elsewhere, or connect donors to certain passions or causes that they have. It all comes through listening and talking, so I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything?
Commissioner Joe?
Nope, no questions, just, like Commissioner Younger had said, if throughout the year you could pop in or give updates. There's a number of outside agencies that were asked to do that last year that, for whatever reason, didn't have the chance to pop in and visit with us throughout the year. So we're just trying to keep up with everybody to make sure that, what we were able to help with did help, and just, we like those updates. But you guys have a great organization full of very persuasive people.
Well, good.
But you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next is the Dsnwk services.
Good evening, Commissioners. We thought we'd try to do
do a trio here and speed this along.
That's fine, Jerry.
If we got 5 minutes for all of it, we'll do our best.
You'll get a little more time. You got 3 of you.
Sure. I'll introduce Wade is with our Transportation Access Transportation. Sarah Biggs is here, and I'm, of course, Jerry Michaud. I'm the President of Developmental Services in Northwest Kansas. And the first word I would say is thank you, actually 2 words. But we are so appreciative of the support of the county. We frankly couldn't do it without the support. We put our packet before you, and I'll dive into that here in just a quick second. Wanted to just paint the picture for others that may or may not know that developmental services were oftentimes confused with being a governmental agency. We're a 501c3, have been from the beginning 55 years ago. So that's our longstanding relationship with the county is one that we're so very appreciative of. I know when we came in for our kind of mid-year time with you all, workforce crisis, workforce challenges was paramount. It continues to be. I'm happy to report that we've had an adjustment in our rates from our state and federal partners, which we hope will help us to turn the tide. We still have 35 open positions. 25 of those positions are right here tied to Ellis County, so we continue to work that to make a difference. Medicaid is our primary source of funding. Our turnover rate is about 42%. Last quarter, it pushed a bit over 50%. We're hoping that we're going to be able to turn that around. It's difficult when unemployment, I think I looked today, 1.3% for Ellis County. Pretty no surprise to you all. The number of individuals we serve across our 18 counties is about 525 individuals. And then a little fact about those that are waiting is about 4,600 people with intellectual and developmental disabilities across the state. 101 of those are from Northwest Kansas, 31 right here in Ellis County. So the needs are there. The needs are great. But what I will tell you that in our footprint of Ellis County is one of our 18, of course, but the lion's share of services are happening right here. Number of individuals served from our report is just about 165. No, I don't think that number is correct. That would be, I'm talking about for 2021, 160 individuals. We have 196 employees that are tied with and associated with Ellis County. That's a pretty significant, that's almost 63% of all of our employees are right here. And that's a good thing. So let me dive into our request. We are coming before you asking if you can hold the line in terms of support. Our request is for $250,000 for calendar year 23. It is helpful when we dig into the report for 2021, calendar year 21. I believe it's a blue sheet in your packet. I'm hoping it is. It is titled Ellis County Commission Report 2021. In that listing, midway in that report, it shows the various services that are provided, college for living, among work services, job placement, residential, targeted case management, and so forth. And we try to break down what are our federal and state funds that come for services for those individuals. That total cost of services for the year for 4.6, almost 4.7 million. The amount of federal and state dollars that we receive is less than that, about 4.36 million, which leaves amount needed by local support. And that's about 336,000, a little bit more than that. Our support for the previous year was 240.
And 250 was a welcomed, appreciated level of support. We know there's always a gap, but our request is that you would hold steady on the level of support. Boy, I sure didn't make that one. On the economic benefit, I'll kind of tie it up there for this piece. 7.4 million for the year for Ellis County is a tremendous level of economic benefit. Most of that is in the form of salaries, but everything you can imagine about our services is happening right here. And certainly appreciate that and that level of support. I don't know whether to save the questions for now or till the end. Certainly would take any questions that you have for this first part of 3.
I have no questions, Jerry, but the services you provided are just absolutely necessary for the community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Joe?
Same. Like I said, everyone in the room will hear a lot of that tonight. Thank you so much for everything you do in our community, and I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Neal?
I will also echo that, and I also thank you for visiting us throughout the whole year.
Sure.
So thank you.
Very good. Well, I'll lean into Wade, and I think he's going to talk about access.
Okay.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Wade Cruz. I'm the transportation manager here for Access Transportation here in Ellis County. This year, we are requesting the same amount of money that we have in the past of the $50,000 to help offset the cost of operational and admin part of our grants that we get from the FTA, which provides the money to KDOT, which provides us with money. So the money that you will be providing us will help offset the operational costs of the bus, staff, maintenance, and of course the fuel that everybody sees keeps rising in the city. We are actually working with the state of Kansas right now, KDOT, on raising the rates on our rides. We haven't set a date yet, but most likely it will probably be August the 1st. We will be raising the rates on access. Hopefully it's not going to be a big jump, but it still will be cheaper than some of the other transportation agencies here in Hayes. We did 30-some thousand rides, slightly about 35,000 rides. Due to the COVID impact last year, we had a significant number of drops in ridership due to the fact that we had to mandate masks being worn on public transportation and 6-foot social distancing. Now that that has been dropped since April, our ridership has started to increase. So providing rides here in Ellis County, we do those on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 3 days a week, and we go anywhere inside of Ellis County. Wherever that individual is, we will go get that client and we'll take them to the medical, shopping, recreation, whatever they desire. So we provide those for them. So again, I appreciate all the support that the commission gives us every year, and we hope to continue to do the service for you folks here in Ellis County.
Are the costs of fuels impacting your budget pretty significantly?
Oh, yeah.
And the Fed's keeping up with that, or?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, they're actually looking into possibly allowing more money for the fuel costs. The FTA, which passes it down to all across the country, so it kind of gets divvied out between the 50 states. But in Kansas alone, there's 84 agencies that provide public transportation in the state of Kansas.
Okay. Commissioner Neal, any questions, comments?
Comments again, thanks for the service, thanks what you do for our community, and also, you're going to hear it again, thank you for coming and revisiting us throughout the year, so
Sure.
appreciate that.
Thank you, Neil.
Commissioner Joe?
Yeah, no questions. Just, again, appreciate the feedback throughout the year. That's important to us so that, we can kind of see that hopefully we've helped in some way. And, certainly what you guys do is so very, very important. You're probably your agency is probably the only reason some people make it to a doctor's appointment or can actually get out and get groceries or whatnot. So, again, thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm Director of Programs and Services at Dsnwk, our KidLink program. So although I'm new to present for KidLink, this is not a new service that you guys have supported in the past for Ellis County. Previously, Hayes Area Children's Center was providing the Tiny K Part C services. They did not apply for their grant, so the state did ask Dsnwk KidLink to take on the early intervention services. Previously, KidLink had been providing services since 1976 in 6 other counties, so this was definitely not new, but it did grow our KidLink program, almost more than doubling it in size. So this program is our tiny case services early intervention. So we get to go into the homes for children that have early intervention needs. We provide anything from physical therapy to occupational therapy, maybe nursing services, transportation for specialist appointments. Whatever we can do based on the children's needs to make sure that they're hitting those milestones. Our request this year, or continued request for Part C services, is $120,000, which was previously supported when it was through Hayes Area Children's Center. So do you guys have questions or anything as far as the early intervention tiny
And
case
how many
services?
children are on that program?
Sure. So we are currently serving around 120 in all of our counties. When we transitioned, the state notified us. We worked with Hayes Area Children's Center to transition our services to Dsnwk. May 15th, we had 44 children that transitioned. Since that date, we have actually taken on an additional 24 more children since that date. So I'm anticipating the program to see it continually growing, again, based on the needs of those families.
This is for children birth to 3 years of age?
Correct.
What happens when a child turns 4?
If they're still not meeting their goals, we'll work then to transition them to Part B services here in Ellis County.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Joe, any questions or comments?
No, no question, just the comment that, again, thank you for what your agency does. Kids need all the help they can get,
Yeah.
so.
Well, thank you guys for your support. We appreciate it.
Commissioner Neal?
Just again, thank you for what you do, and especially with the kids.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
I don't need to have the last word, but I did want to report that there were some questions amongst the transition plan, and it's working very, very well. So that all issues have been resolved. I thought you'd appreciate knowing that.
That's good.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, and next is the Hayes Area Children's Center.
Hi, evening. My name is Doug Ford. I'm the president of the Hayes Area Children's Center Board of Directors, non-for-profit child care. And you just kind of pick up with what they were saying about the Part C. The Part C services was at Hayes Area Children's Center, and we provide the providers, the PT, speech, early childhood services with USC 409. Their offices were held at the Hayes Area Children's Center, and then starting January, February, they all either retired or they were going to be moving at the end of the year. And when we applied, every single one of the providers, when we applied for that grant in April, the state said you don't have the providers, even though we had the openings. And so that's why we weren't able to get the grant. They said that's why you're denied. So that's part of the reason. It gives a little bit more background. But like Jerry and Sarah said, that's my main concern was once we lost that, I just want to make sure those services were still be provided. Dsnwk, they picked it right up, and working with them, that transition has been smooth. It's been awesome. No loss on that. With that, by losing that services, that helped provide, they paid half the utilities, half the insurance, and so we lost a pretty substantial amount of income there. And so now the tuition base for the child care services is having to try and pick up that end of it. And so what we're asking for is more support on the child care side for the child care center to help fund the support staff. Because right now, again, this is a huge change for us. We're trying to do whatever best we can to keep the doors open and make sure, because it is affecting 80 kids. But the tuition is really just covering the monthly supplies, utilities, insurance. So we're just asking for money for the support staff, the child care coordinator, the cook, and the building grounds manager. With that, with them with no part-time services, we are looking at, I already reached out to Jean Hansen. There's the Ellis County Child Care Task Force. We're trying to look at other ways. This gives us opportunity to expand. And so we're starting to look at, there's that expansion grant that Jean Hansen has, that we're trying to work out those things, or maybe we can add another classroom or two or something like that to up it up to closer to 100 kids. And the kids that we service are from 3 months to preschool. With that, I just want to thank you guys for my time and for the past support for the Tiny K program at the Hayes Eric Children's Center. And I hope you continue to do that for them in the future for Dsnwk.
Okay. I know for years you provided very valuable services to the community. And again, it's like Joe said several times here, that's a repetitive theme, but these services do make a difference in the quality of life in Ellis County too.
Right. Yeah. Thanks.
Commissioner Neal, any
Yeah,
questions?
especially when you said 3 months to, that means a lot to our community, so.
Yeah.
Commissioner Joe?
Yeah, definitely such a vulnerable age group that otherwise might not get the help that they would need. So thank you very much for doing that.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, our next agency is the Eldest County Historical Society.
Well, we've never even seen you guys before.
I know. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for your time. I'll try to use it wisely. I am glad that we've been here every 2 months to update you on our progress and our projects and our goals, because otherwise I know I could talk for an hour on them, because I'm proud of the stuff that we've done in the past year, past 15 months. Just real quick, I just kind of wanted to touch base on where we were last year at this time, because everybody knows about it. Everybody I run into. So we had taken over the helm, and we had presented to you after having the job maybe about 3 months with a practically new board, and we're handed a very struggling entity. And we had 3 main goals in mind over the past year, which was to start reorganizing from top to bottom that entity, to engage the community again and gain their trust and be active and visible. And we also needed to find other sources of revenue. We knew that. And before I forget, I have a lot of people with me today. I keep going. I'm like 5 minutes. We got to go fast. But we have a lot of our board here tonight, too. We have great support, not only within our organization, but I know you guys have heard it throughout the community lately. And I think we've hit those 3 goals that we set for ourselves. And we did it with 3 part-time employees who basically worked the equivalent of 1 full-time wage. Moving forward, we have gained this momentum, and we would hate to see it halt. We have proven we can do it, and we are looking at other sources of revenue. I think Sarah was talking about her endowment through the Heartland Foundation. We are hopefully going to join in with that to show that we believe in our sustainability, and we need to be here after that, after we're all gone, and have another source of revenue. I don't think it's going to kick off $1 million next year, but hopefully we will get a little piece back from our investment someday. The project in Victoria that you might have heard of not only has great gains for us, possibly in ways of entry fees or membership and county awareness, but I think it also would benefit the county substantially. I don't know if any of you read the article that was in the Hayes Daily News a couple weeks ago about tourism and the small niche tourist roadside attractions that help provide tourism dollars to those counties at 3 times the dollars per capita than the county adjacent to them, like the biggest ball of twine and stuff. And finding a niche that can pull tourists aside can really benefit, I think, the county and our citizens. And I think Volga German history and tying to those churches that are already very popular could do that for us if we can get that project going. And I also wanted to announce that we, after many proposals that they've put forth over the past few years of what our society is going to look like and what our museum is going to look like, the board has decided and taken a vote that we are going to save the brick church building, and we are going to be a vibrant part of downtown Hayes again as well. So those are all positives, and those are all things that we can do through grants and fundraising, but we can't do it without a dedicated staff to manage those projects. So I'm very pleased to say that the small staff that we had has done a massive amount of work in the past year. You drive around town in the community and you see help wanted, now hiring, closed because of staff shortages, and we have the people here that want to do the work and dedicated, and it is not maybe providing some of the services that are absolutely key and necessary, but I think they speak volumes for the type of community and culture that we have in Hayes, Kansas, and the county. Lastly, I want to just touch on a couple pertinent statements from last year's budget meeting, because I'm very proud of the outcomes of those statements, and I've gotten numerous inquiries to me when someone says, oh, you're with the Ellis County Historical Society. I was at that meeting. You guys, that's rough. And, you know, I think it was Commissioner Schleier that basically put it very bluntly to us, why would we throw good money at bad money? Mm-hmm. And I'm very proud to say that this year, with the very small amount that we've had, we ended in the black for the first time in many years for the Historical Society. A lot of that was PPP funding. But just as a point of reference, in 2012, when the county allocated the highest amount of funds for the Ellis County, which was about $120,000, and the city was allocating $12,000 in special parks, the society ended in the red by about $12K. So I think it shows that we can do it, and we're going to find all revenues to do so. And then the other thing is, I know he touched on, and it was very important to the county and the commission to know where their money is going, and if we didn't know how much we needed, how are you supposed to know how much to give us? And I think I've outlined it for you in the packet that you've received. Of not only have we reorganized everything from the top or from the bottom up in forms of our physical items that we have on campus, we've scratched our entire budget system and really looked at what we can and can't do. And not only are we asking for more money from public funding, will we ever be able to sustain ourselves by admissions only? Probably not. But we have quadrupled our membership money this year. We hope to double it again this year and the following year. We have utilized much money in grants this coming year, and which they hadn't looked at and hadn't tried for in a number of years. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty proud of this crew. So, do I have any questions?
As you presented your budget last year, I do admit I was very skeptical. Yeah. And you have done a bang-up job throughout the year. I think you guys are really on your way to doing something, and it is really good. It's valuable that there is a historical perspective in the community, that people can go see the different artifacts and read the articles and that whole thing. Yeah. So you guys have really done good. You are asking for a substantial increase, 100% increase. Mm-hmm. And would that just be used for operations costs? Mostly, because grants, can't be used for general operating expenses. They've got a special source and a special project in mind. We have secured almost $70,000 worth of grants and donations this year, $25,000 to get us back into the brick building by the end of the year. For offices, we've the office space, the Schmidt Foundation for the office space that we have now, and the $10,000 in money that we raised through a drive for our computer systems. All those things can be $70,000. Only about a third of them go to general operating costs. They all go to a special project. So we really need the support of the county at this time. I think we've proven ourselves that we have the drive, we have the capacity. We're not reckless or
or irresponsible with that. And I don't think that anyone among us thinks that it's something that is expected or, handed over lightly or with every year. I just think that we've done a bang-up job, like you say, and we hope to continue.
Sure. Yeah, your efforts through the past year are very commendable. Commissioner Joe, concerns or questions?
As you mentioned earlier, you've heard people say, hey, we were in the room. Yeah, I was in the room in the crowd because at the time I was with an agency also asking for funding. And I remember, of course, when your group went up thinking, ooh, wow, ouch. And it couldn't be any different this year. I mean, you guys, not only have you made incredible progress, but you've been very aggressive about doing your own fundraising and taking the initiative to fix what you needed to fix instead of just going, hey, give us help. You've taken the help, but you've also made great use of it. So I certainly appreciate that, and I would love to see that work out in Victoria. I live there. The minor basilica is there. I've lived there for, oh my goodness, what seems like forever. The longest I've lived in one place my entire adult life anyway. And literally every time I drive by it, unless it's some crazy hour at night, there's always a tour bus or a group of people, taking pictures and walking around and reading the different inscriptions. So it would be a wonderful tie-in to the foot traffic that is already leaving the interstate to visit the basilica. So I think that would just be a great location, a great thing to do for that community. So thank you for everything you've done this past year.
Commissioner Neal.
Again, thanks for visiting us throughout the year. You guys have done leaps and bounds. How many more people are in the audience?
Everybody else stand up. We've got quite a few.
I was going to say, I recognize some of them from the end of my driveway picketing.
Yeah, picketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Great. Thank
we've got a
them
lot of
all
support.
for
Yeah, they've done a wonderful
services.
job, and you know what? With a small staff, we absolutely could not do it without them putting in a lot of volunteer hours. Yeah, so.
And I do hope it comes through, like Joe said, through Victoria. We're building you a good road, so
It would just make sense. And
good things happen.
and I know I already had my moment, but to piggyback off that, last meeting we found out that, we're going to get to extend that road work 2 consecutive years instead of every other, like normally it would be, the shortest interval would be every other. So, it's a great location. They'll have a great road. It would be a wonderful set of things falling in line with one another to complement each other. And, I just admire the passion of everybody that just stood up. And, you're almost like a biker gang up here.
I got my entourage.
You got like half the room is you guys. So, definitely a lot of passion behind this. So thank you for that.
And I did, when you guys first jumped into this, I could read your facial expressions like, is this even going to happen? But you guys did it, and thank you.
With a lot of good board members and trustees and volunteers and staff, oh my gosh, we couldn't have done it without Amanda and
Adam.
He is the one that's responsible and I'm forgetting Brad's name, for putting together the gun show down at the museum. If none of you have come to see this, you need to go see it. And I know we have tickets. Anybody interested in some tickets for the
Priscilla's
raffle?
always a businessman.
Yeah.
While you're here, right?
Yeah. Well, I would also like to.
Those pictures
That's what-
behind you, that's Ellis County.
Yeah.
And we want to keep Ellis County on everybody's mind because the history here is awesome.
And the great display that's upstairs that
Yes.
we've asked, and
That was Amanda.
And I think
She's
the.
done an awesome
Oh,
job.
no,
And Adam, did you? Oh, yeah, you did that too. I did.
That's a set.
I just wanted to, in part of making Ellis County have some culture and have some tourism attractions, we've had that firearm exhibit open for about 3 weeks, and I have gotten I've gotten 5 emails in the past week and a half, 2 weeks, asking people from Atwood, Great Bend, Buckland, have all traveled here just for that. They've recognized that that is a, very big deal for people that like antique weapons, but that have come to Ellis County for just that reason, and I think we could do more of that, so I'm excited.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Well, we thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Okay, the next agency is our Ellis County Conservation District.
Good evening. My name is Linda O'Neill. I am the new district manager for the Ellis County Conservation District. I was hired in January and I replaced Sandy Scott. Sandy retired in February and I'm glad to be here. And I want to say thank you for having us here this evening, and I'm going to introduce the people that are with me. This is Alan Roth. He is our board chairperson. This is Brett Schmidt. He is our treasurer. And this is behind me is Ray Gonzalez, and Ray works for the NRCS and he is an SDC, and they are going to visit with you about our requests this evening. Thank
Okay.
you.
So I just want to take a few minutes to talk about the Ellis County Conservation District. The main purpose for all of us here is to insist in getting and maintaining conservation practices on the land. These practices positively impact our county and improve our county's water quality. We rely on both state and local budgets for our operation. Our district programs include the Ellis County Cost Share Program, Terrace Enlargement Program, Ellis County Supplemental Program, and the Windbreak Program. We also assist in state-funded programs such as the State Water Resource Cost Share Program and the Non-Point Source Pollution Control Cost Share Program. The Conservation District also assists the NRCS with the Environmental Quality Incentive Program, which is EQIP, and the Conservation Stewardship Program, CSP, which are multi-year contracts. The programs all help with the financial burden facing producers to preserve the land and maintain the quality of water. It's important to remember conservation isn't always easy, and the land will always require maintenance and conservation to remain productive, especially with the high inputs right now. The Conservation District also provides education opportunities for youth and producers. A few events that the Conservation District participates in are Kids in Ag Day, Earth Water Festivals, and Wacky Day, impacting over 1,000 students in Ellis County and neighboring counties. We also distribute the newsletter to 1,800 farmers and ranchers each year, honoring the awardees for local conservation practices. The Conservation District looks forward to working with the local farmers and ranchers for years to come, along with the other Board of Supervisors and staff of the Ellis County Conservation District. We'd like to thank the County Commissioners for their interest in the activities of the district. Our total fiscal year 2023 budget request was $10,750 for the Ellis County Cost Share Program and $61,896 for the district operations, for a total request of $72,646, of which we had requested last year and you guys granted. Thank you. We'd also like to thank you for the consideration of our budget request. And I'm going to turn the microphone over to Ray Gonzalez. He is our new SDC for the management unit.
Good evening. My name is Ray Gonzalez. Like they said, the supervisor of district conservationist for MU Russell now. They name it after where the, I guess, supervisor sits. I sit in Russell, but I also assist Ellis County, Trigo, and Russell counties. Along with my partners back here, the Conservation District, we help administer programs. They assist me in administering programs, federal programs. I'm a federal employee, so I administer federal programs. EQIP, like he mentioned, Environmental Quality Incentive Program, and other such programs that assist landowners with agriculture, recreational, wildlife is one of our biggest ones. Currently, we are taking part in the Fort County Fire, helping Farm Service Agency with technical assistance when it comes to fence lines, that we're replacing fence lines and windbreaks and any other type of agriculture or land ownership that we need to take care of, soil erosion, wind erosion, that type of items that a disaster can bring. So that's being said.
Any questions?
No questions from me. Understand what you're requesting and why you're requesting it. And it's easy to see as one travels throughout the countryside. You can see the conservation practices being utilized. I mean, you can witness them. So it's a very good service. Commissioner Neal, any questions?
Just comment, it is a good service. I've used it. Know multiple people that have. As we all heard Walt before, with the mental health getting on the farmers, it's a must, in my words. So thank you guys for. I would ask too if that you would please come visit us throughout the year. That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Commissioner Joe?
No questions, just to repeat the comment, it would be, your ask is 44, almost 45% of your annual budget that you have here. So it would be great to visit with you periodically throughout the year to see how almost half of your budget is being spent, and just to make sure we're helping the way we had hoped to help. So, yes, sir.
Yes.
We want to come and present to you. Do we have to call and get on the agenda?
Yeah. You can go through the county administrator's office to get on the agenda, and it's as often as you'd like or as seldom as you'd like, but just periodically throughout the year it'd be nice. If for some reason you can't get on the agenda, but something new happens and you really want to share it right away, so long as you're here at the very beginning of the meeting, we always block off some time for folks that weren't able to get on the agenda but really have something that they'd like to visit with us about. But really it's just to kind of keep that somewhat regular touch base going, just so that we can make sure we're helping the way we had hoped we could help.
It just shows our community that where that funding's going, what farmers are doing, what you guys are doing. That does help you. You hear that out in the real world, farmers are getting the money, and yeah, we'll show them.
Yeah. Okay. But thank you very much for what you do.
Okay, we thank you. Okay, our next agency is the Western Kansas Child Advocacy Center.
Thank you guys for having me again. I know I touched base a couple months ago when I visited, about what services we do, and I really want to talk about why we do them. If these kids don't get the help that they need to heal, a lot of times they in turn become abusers themselves in the future. Drugs and suicide, that can all be mitigated. The involvement with the juvenile criminal justice system, and we want kids to succeed and thrive in life, and without the tools and services to do that, it's just not going to happen. And the youth in our communities really are the future of them, and they deserve to be nurtured and protected, and that's why we do what we do. And so to recap, so we interviewed 68 kids for a report of child physical or sexual abuse, and then from 2020, it was 42 in 2020, so that's a pretty significant rise. And all our services continue to just soar. And we actually extended our building because the demand is so high, especially after COVID. And if kids don't get that help that they need, you see lasting effects. The mental health services they need as adults most times are because they didn't get that help when they were kids. And so early intervention is huge. We provided 273 trauma-focused therapy sessions. We have our monthly MDT meeting, which is with county attorney, which I invited to back me up a little bit. And then with our school system, St. Francis, DCF, and so that we can all work together, because each prospective agency has a different role they play in these kids' lives. And if we're not working as a team, it's a disservice to those kids. And so a huge part with court that forensic interview is huge for that investigation, and we pride ourselves on having great interviewers, because if they're not, the defense could really tear them apart, and when that's at court, that's not okay, and that's a disservice too. And so they're constantly training. They're actually at training right now to interview kids with disabilities so that they can better provide for them. And they constantly do peer review to make sure that they're asking appropriate questions and just figuring out what happened to that kid, and it gives them a voice. And so I don't know, Robert, if you have anything you want to say. Thank you for coming.
Sure. Hello, Commissioners. Robert Anderson, Ellis County Attorney for the record. I'm here in support of the Western Kansas Child Advocacy Center. And I might just add, there are other agencies I've heard speak tonight, and there are others that are coming on down the line that I also wouldn't leave out. I'd be here in support of them too. They just didn't ask me to be here. I can't tell you how important this group of people is to not only the community, but certainly the work that I do. And I know that their focus is not primarily on helping me do my job, but I can speak to that. And so the forensic interviews that they conduct are extremely valuable in the investigative process. They help me to assess a case and the strengths and weaknesses of that case, and really to get at the truth of what has occurred, what I can charge, what I can prove. And probably more important than that is the advocacy services they provide after the case is filed. So as you can probably imagine, not many people have experience coming to court, testifying in court, those sorts of things. And I do as much as I can to prepare my witnesses, especially children victim witnesses. And what they do is they are along the ride, along with them for the ride every step of the way. Every time I have a meeting with a child who has been sexually abused, for example, an advocate comes with them to my office. They usually bring, items to keep them occupied, sometimes stress balls, different things. And so there's a coordinated effort between what they do and what I try and do in my office to really minimize the harm and prepare these kids for what they may have to do if we do proceed to a contested hearing of some kind. And so from my perspective, this is one of the most valuable community partners that I have in my office. And that's not to exclude others. I see, Options here, High Plains here. I see a lot of other community partners that are extremely valuable as well. But again, in being asked to come be here in support of the Child Advocacy Center, certainly they have both thumbs up from me.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
No, you are asking for a 100% increase from 5,000 to 10,000.
Yes.
And why do you find that necessary to ask for that big of an increase?
So the amount of services we provide for Ellis County is one of the highest. So Finney County is the highest, and then Ellis County would be right under that, not excluding some of the other counties. But and obviously we have an office here, which is helpful. But we also, have our mobile units, so we travel directly to the kid if need be. If a parent is an abuser, we have to go to the schools to do it to keep them safe. And then we lost $177,000 this year in funding. And like I said, every year the demand keeps increasing, and so we really need that support to continue to provide those services. And as many others said, past COVID, that isolation, all of that abuse, they're now disclosing, whether it's adults or children. The services are just really high. The cost of therapy supplies and just the amount of kids we served almost doubled from 2020, and it continues to do so every year.
Okay. Commissioner Joe, questions, concerns?
No question. You asked the question I was going to in regards to the request increase. But just and I used this term earlier as far as vulnerable population members, but I can't think of a more vulnerable population member than a child who's been abused and needs assistance. So I can't even imagine what you guys hear, see, and go through as you're helping these kids. So
we get therapy, so it's helpful.
Yeah, but the fact you have a job where you need to go get therapy says says some good about you and the folks you work with. So thank you so much for helping be a voice for those children.
Thank you. We can't imagine someone not doing it, so we're thankful to be able to do that. So.
Commissioner Neal?
I was just going to say that you took the words out of my mouth, but having something like that available here for kids that are abused, and how often do you have to go out, travel to?
The other counties. So we have 34 counties we cover, and we have an office here, Colby, Scott City, Garden City, Sublette, and Liberal. And so in 2020, we interviewed 505 kids over those 34 counties, and then last year it was 586 kids. And so it's a large number, and those girls are honestly on the road daily. I think today they interviewed, between all of the offices, about 6 kids just today. And so sometimes, you know, a kid will disclose something, and then DCF or law enforcement says, you know, this kid's not safe, so we need to get this one done. And you know, we have our sexual assault nurse on staff, and she's been amazing. She can take the bus directly to the kids because Hayes, Garden, and Liberal are the only places that can do a sexual assault nurse exam. And so that's a huge service for us to have too. So
busy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Lots of miles on the RVs, which.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Thanks for visiting us throughout the year.
Yes, we'll be back, so thank you. I have the pledge and waiver for you for my conference.
Sign it.
Not right now, I can get it later.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, our next agency is Options.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Hecker. I'm the Executive Director of Options. And I've got some profiles for you.
Thank you.
Options Domestic and Sexual Violence Services is a nonprofit organization. We serve 18 counties across northwest Kansas. Our headquarters are here in Ellis County. And we provide help, hope, and healing services to victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, human trafficking, and teen dating violence. We provide 13 core services. The vast majority of those services are offered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including our shelter. Well, I want to thank you for your gift and your support last year. This year we are asking for a 100% increase. Our services have exponentially grown. In the previous year's county profile, we provided a little over 9,400 services. In the profile for 2021, it was over 14,000 services. And that's a very big jump to make in a year. On top of that, requests for safety planning have increased about 41% from 2019 to 2020, and then from 20 to 21, it jumped another 26%. People are very much in need in our community right now. Our shelter is still operating at 50% of our capacity due to health concerns around COVID. We just increased that actually. We were operating at 25% capacity in our shelter until a few months ago. And our shelter manager's in touch with the health department on a continuous basis, looking at those COVID numbers. How can we bring more people, when it will be safe to bring more people into a congregate living situation. And so because we have a commitment to never turn anyone away for services, that means that we are overflowing all of those people in need into hotels. And when we do that, our cost goes up 3 to 4 times. It's much more expensive to shelter someone in a hotel. We've had people in hotels upwards of 7 to 8 weeks at a time until we could find them more stable, permanent housing. And the isolation of that certainly has a devastating impact on victims as well. The beautiful thing about shelter is that you can come and heal with people who have been through the same thing. And when you're in a hotel, with your children, by yourself, afraid and feeling very exposed. That's not a great feeling. About 80 to 90% of our services are provided to Ellis County residents. In the county profile that you have, the purple side describes domestic violence services, and the back side, the teal side, describes what's happening in Ellis County around sexual assault, stalking, and human trafficking. In Ellis County, last year in our 2021 profile, there were about 167 incidents of domestic violence that were reported to law enforcement, and 127 arrests were made. That is an incredibly high number. It's about a 70% arrest rate average. The statewide average, to give you some perspective, is about 48%. And it is the highest arrest rate in all of the 18 counties that we serve. And so that says to us that our law enforcement and accountability in our community is very high. And it really takes three legs of a stool to provide services. We need prevention, we need services for victims to help them recover, and then we need accountability for the people that are perpetrating these crimes. And so when arrest levels are low, that erodes the trust of survivors, and when it is high, that brings more people. They see that law enforcement is going to be supportive, and more people are willing to come forward and report what's happened to them. And that's important because domestic violence murders are on the rise. Although statistically it looks like there were less domestic violence murders, it's actually just meant that there were more other kinds of murders. There were actually 38 domestic violence related murders. And that's, we can do something to end that. We have to do something to end that. In addition to providing direct services to victims, we also work in the community. We facilitate a coordinated community response team in Ellis County that brings together a multitude of different disciplines, from service providers, prevention, accountability, prosecution, all of them coming together to discuss what's happening in our community and to find ways for all of those organizations to partner together, all so that victims get the help that they need and that perpetrators are brought to justice. We also participate in the sexual assault response team as well. And we provide, in addition to those services, we also really work in our community to support those other types of services. So when someone you heard from the Western Child Advocacy Center, there are not very many programs that are providing sexual assault nurse exams in this Northwest Kansas. And so we're able to provide that support to Hayes Med when someone comes in from outside our service area and is in need of an advocate to help them through their forensic exam. Options can still provide that support so that the hospital staff are able to work with the patients and we're able to provide that advocacy. What are you curious about?
You said you're only utilizing about 50% of your shelter space?
Currently, yes. And
has anyone given you an indication of when you might be able to go back to 100%?
We're working on that. So we're in constant contact with the health department. In fact, our shelter coordinator was just on the phone with her a couple days ago, but the cases spiked back up again. And so in about a week, we're going to look at those cases and see when we can, when can we get to 75%? When can we get to 100%? We're hoping by the end of the year. We'll be back.
Yeah, because it's costly not to use it.
It's extremely costly. Yeah, it's about 4 times more expensive. Hotel costs, we used to have pretty fixed rates with some hotels that we work with pretty regularly. That rate was about $40 to $48. Now they're going up to about $125.
Oh my.
Yeah, and so when you have somebody, your daily rate's $125 and they're in a hotel for 7 weeks, your budget goes really, it flies by you pretty quickly.
Sure. Commissioner Neal, any questions or concerns?
Just a comment. I know you're asking for a lot, but this explains a lot. You're doubling, but if we got to continue to keep putting them up in motels, that's very, very costly. And again, thanks for what you do. And we would appreciate a visit throughout the year.
Absolutely, we'd be happy to.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Joe?
No questions, just to echo what you and some of the other organizations have said, I kind of anticipated post-COVID, after everybody was able to get out a little bit more, that the need for some services would increase because, they weren't able to get access to them while they were kind of in lockdown, if you will. Not that we really had a lockdown.
Sure.
So thank you for, like he had mentioned, explaining some of the reason for the need for the increase, and just thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
Okay, we thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next agency is the Eldest Alliance. Is anyone here from the Ellis Alliance? Doesn't look like it. We'll go on to CASA of the High Plains.
You should demand to get there 5 minutes.
Well, I could definitely talk for that long, so if you want to stay later, let me know. Well, good evening, Commissioners. Thanks for having me here tonight, and thank you for all of the previous funding. This year, well, I guess I'm Kristen Osborne. I'm the Executive Director of CASA. I've been the Executive Director for about 6 months, and I had been on the board for about a year previous to that. This year, we are asking for the same amount of funding that we received last year. We are really focused on rebuilding our capacity post-COVID, to kind of follow the themes of the other agencies that are here this evening. CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. I tried to provide a lot of good information about our history, where we've been and where we're going in the packet that I hope you all have. COVID was hard on us. We are all volunteers. I'm the only paid staff member. So our volunteers are working with children who have been victims of abuse and neglect and have either already been pulled from their home or at risk of being pulled from their home. So these volunteers are spending their time getting to know that child, mentoring that child, supporting all the other agencies working with that child within the courts, and then providing all of that information that they've gathered to the judge to help them make informed decisions about those children's futures. We are serving Ellis County, Rooks County, Trigo County, and Gove County. Last year, there were 95 SINC cases in the 23rd Judicial District. 81 of those cases were in Ellis County. So Ellis County is where we are currently serving the most children. Currently, we can have up to 15 volunteers. Our number significantly dropped through COVID due to the lack of volunteers, people willing to be volunteers, the safety concern with volunteers. We have been able to increase that, which has helped us. Last year we served 12 children total. This year we're already at 10. So I'm expecting to at least double the amount of children served this year and then get back up to our typical 30 to 40 a year. But the number of children served also depends on how long those cases are going on in the courts. But if there is a CASA appointed to a SINC case, statistically speaking, those cases come to conclusion much quicker than those SINC cases that do not have a CASA. So again, we still feel that we'll be able to at least double the number of children served this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do provide a very valuable service to the community.
Thank you.
And I know you'll probably get your case numbers back up where they are going to be.
There's definitely not a lack of cases, so.
Right. So, we'd just like to continue support to your agency.
Thank you.
Commissioner Joe, questions or concerns?
No question. I'm sure much like some of the other agencies that are associated with the services that you provide, post-COVID, you're going to see a spike. I'm surprised you didn't ask for an increase in funding. Your current ask is only 0.34% of the total ask of all the 22 agencies combined. So, it's not like you're asking for gold-plated.
We're trying to be mindful
of the services that are dealing with that increase right now in their caseload. And we're not quite there, but we have all of the plans to get there. So
Well,
next year, watch out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd really like you to be able to come here next year and go, wow, we were surprised. Because if if your ask increases, that means the services were needed even more.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily a good thing for the kids involved, unfortunately.
Exactly, definitely.
But no, thank you for coming in and presenting. And, again, anything that especially serves a vulnerable population like the children is something I do appreciate a great deal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Neal?
Just to kind of echo what Joe said, the coming in, the year, maybe you could visit us and keep us updated. And
Absolutely.
I do appreciate your services, what you guys do. So it's
Thank you so
well
much.
needed in the community.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I believe that run through our list of agencies unless I forgot someone. So I don't see no one yelling, so I guess
Your time's up, Coach.
my time's up, okay. So moving on, we'll have our county administrator report.
No report this evening.
Okay. County commission reports. Commissioner Neal?
Well, I went to the Grow Haze last week there. Their group of people and staff have some good things coming up, so hopefully it'll all come together, and I appreciate that. So that's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Joe?
Well, I was looking for my calendar to be a little bit more complete, but by memory, I was also at the Grow Haze Quarterly Luncheon to learn more about the microfactory coming in, and Dave did a really great job with securing that funding, so that's a wonderful thing to see added to the community. And then earlier today, I helped with the job fair at Big Creek Crossing. That was exciting because that is their first in-person job fair that they've conducted through Kansas Works and Kansas Workforce One since pre-COVID. So it was really neat to see them.
Did they have a big turnout?
No. No. No follow-up questions. No. Yeah, they actually, not to overshare, what I was told is the last in-person one that they had 120 job seekers, which would thrill any employer in the area to death right about now. And so they were cautiously optimistic, but happy to get whatever they could. And they set a goal of 20, like in their mind with the Facebook sharing and different advertising, that they thought if they could get 20 people to come in, it would be a good thing, because they'd have about one job seeker per employer represented at a table. And when I left to come here this evening, the 20th person had just walked in the door and they still had an hour and a half to go. So they met or hopefully exceeded their goal. I don't know, because I left prior to the conclusion, which was at 6. So that was a good thing. So hopefully area employers see an uptick in some applications, and we can kind of get moving forward by filling some vacancies, to include some here at the county. If any of you know anybody looking for a job, we're hiring. We've got a few good openings. Talk to us. But anyway, that's my report.
Okay, and I have no report. There's no executive sessions. And if there's no further business, county will adjourn at 6:43.